As part of Marx's Manifesto, he thought the following points would be applicable in most advanced countries. There would be the abolition of private property, so it would be owned by the state and rent would not be paid to individual landowners. There would be a heavy progressive tax, income tax, which meant that the more money you earn, the more tax you pay to the state. There'd be abolition of all right of inheritance, confiscation of the property of emigrants and rebels, so people leaving the country, centralised credit in the hand of the state, so there'd be a national bank with state capital and an exclusive monopoly. He would centralise communication and transport, so all that would be owned by the state. There'd be an extension of factories and instruments of production owned by the state, so they would cultivate wasteland and improve soil generally in accordance with a common plan. Everyone would have the equal right to work, and capital would be distributed evenly through different industries. Agriculture would be combined and owned by the state, and he would abolish the distinction between town and country, so the population would equally be distributed across the country. And finally, he thought that there should be free education for all children in state-owned schools, and children's labour would be abolished, so they would be educated instead. And he said that working men of all countries should unite.
The differences with the Soviet Union and Marxist Manifesto was, while they were founded on classical Marxism, the Soviet Union had to adapt to the 20th century, mainly to retain political power, having to give greater attention to leadership, political organisation and economic management. Communism didn't develop in capitalist developed countries, but mainly rural agricultural ones such as Russia and China. Because the proletariat was small and unsophisticated, the power of the rule lies within the hands of small communist elite, the vanguard Communist Party. Lenin believed the working class would not gain class consciousness on their own, and that they needed a vanguard party to lead them to revolutionary consciousness, unlike Marxism. It was not a dictatorship of the people. It was a dictatorship led by a communist vanguard party following the principles of democratic centralism. Stalin issued brutal violence to any suspected of disloyalty set up by a secret police. He set up labour camps and gulags. The industrial proletariat were too few and unorganised enough to control the entire country as a working class dictatorship. Many were still peasants and the country was not industrialised. Soviet leaders ended up not replacing class society, but just making another one.
Similarities of the Communist Manifesto to communism in reality. In the USSR, there was the announcement of the 5-year plan, which brought about rapid industrialization, as well as abolishment of all private property in Russia. Secondly, the capitalist market was entirely removed and replaced by a system of central planning dominated by the State Planning Committee, which was called Gosplan, and it was administered by a collection of powerful economic ministries based in Moscow. Thirdly, political Stalinism was therefore a form of totalitarian dictatorship operating through a monolithic ruling party in which all forms of debate or criticism were eradicated by terror. Oh no, wait, that's not a similarity. But the first bit about political Stalinism having a singular party, that is a similarity. Okay, and then the next similarity is communism in China. So Mao Zedong, the president of the Communist Party in China at that time, attempted to avoid the formation of a ruling class in the form of a powerful bureaucracy by encouraging the people, i.e. the peasants, to challenge the authority and to ensure that the party and its officials remained accountable to them. Yeah. That's it.